All right, everybody, are you ready for a new DCU update? And this one is going to be fun, and it puts a smile on my face. All right, first of all, if you haven't already, please subscribe, hit that notification bell so you will be notified when I have new videos go up. And if you could, like the video. It helps the YouTube algorithm greatly. Now, yesterday, shortly after I posted my videos, there was an investor call with David Zaslav and some other people that are the financial advisors over at Warner Brothers Discovery. And my gosh, how bad can things get for Warner Brothers? I do not see a good end to this. And we're going to go look at what was posted, and I'm going to talk about a comment that one of the executives said about James Gunn himself, which I think is ridiculous. Now, I couldn't find the quote, but I did see it, but I couldn't find it in an article to show you guys. But I did find the article talking about the investor call yesterday, so I'm going to go ahead and share that. First of all, you can see here when I do Variety Zaslav, there are 3 top stories that came up, and none of them are good. Warner Brothers Discovery Zaslav shows new combative streak and tweaking media rivals. That's what I'm going to focus on here in a minute. Warner Brothers Discovery sees $2.1 billion loss in Q4 after big write-down. Ad sales tumble. Is the worst really over? Wall Street hunts for evidence of turnaround momentum in Warner Brothers Discovery Q4 results. This is a freaking disaster. All right, before I get to that news, I'm going to show you something that James Gunn talked about with Creature Commandos. This just got posted today. It says, when DC Studios' James Gunn and Peter Safran announced Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters, their first wave of film and series in their new DCU, we were impressed with the diversity of stories selections being offered right out of the gate. That is questionable. But if we were forced to pick a favorite, it was the news that writer J.M. DeMatteis and artist Pat Broderick's Creature Commandos would be getting an animated series adaptation. Really? That's their number one pick out of everything that was released? Nobody knows who Creature Commandos are. I am a DC fan, and I didn't know who Creature Commandos are. And for that to be the first project, when a company doesn't have money, seems very, very odd. Same with The Authority. These are just not well-known properties with people. But this is what they're running with. At any rate, he goes on to say that in addition, the series is being cast with voice actors who could also play their characters in live-action project down the road. This is something Gunn talked about, that if he gets voice actors to act the parts, that if they make the jump into live action, he wants them to be the live-action counterparts as well. So he said, we might know who's in the cast sooner rather than later. So James Gunn posted today, starting production, almost done casting. So they're definitely moving forward with that. And then they mentioned some of the other projects here, which is kind of interesting. All right, now let's look at this Variety article about David Zaslav. Shows new combative streak and tweaking media rivals. Now, there was an investor call yesterday. And it says, after months of cost-cutting, write-downs, and getting basically they were destroyed amongst Hollywood natives for killing projects, the Warner Brothers Discovery chief showed off some new, they're using some weird words in here, words people don't use just to look intelligent, making the case that while his newly merged company has been having a tough time, so too were others. Which is true. I am a cutting the cord expert, and I will tell you that all the streaming platforms are losing money, all of them, and we're going to start seeing a lot of them merge. Like Disney Plus is going to be merging with Hulu, and we also have Discovery Plus is going to be merging with HBO Max, but they're still going to offer Discovery Plus off to the side on its own, because they don't think, some people, they're very different types of content, and they don't think some people who have Discovery Plus are going to pay for, a larger amount just to have the HBO Max stuff added. So they're going to still have, they're not going to have just an HBO Max by itself app. They're going to have one that's combined with Discovery Plus, and then they will also continue to have Discovery Plus on its own. And obviously, Zaslav is a Discovery guy, and that's why he's doing that. He's definitely going to show favoritism towards the Discovery side than he would the HBO side. He said, last year was a year of restructuring. This year will be a year of building. Over the course of an hour, Zaslav and Gunnar Weidenfels, Warner's chief financial officer, made the case that their company was just as well-equipped as any of its rivals, perhaps even more so, to withstand a stormy era during which media companies are pressed to grow their streaming operations but maintain profitability. Zaslav then went on to elbow Netflix for releasing all of the episodes for a program's cycle all at once, which I think people prefer. I prefer that. I don't like to have to wait week to week to see stuff. Obviously, they do that. Zaslav does it so that people don't unsubscribe and then come back. Well, it's easy enough just not to subscribe and then wait till a series is done, get it for a month, watch the whole thing, and then be done. So, honestly, the logic here doesn't make sense, but it's what they're thinking about. He goes on to say that, suggesting that the move to launch new Lord of the Rings movies would take away some of the momentum that Amazon had enjoyed from its launch of a series based on the novels, and told listeners Warner Brothers Discovery could launch an ad-supported streaming service without having to buy an outside asset, as Fox Corp and Paramount Global have done in the recent year. We can create a Tubi or a Pluto without having to buy anybody, he boasted. Zaslav even name-checked Amazon CEO Andy Jassy, almost as if to tease Amazon with the threat of new Lord of the Rings properties. Whether investors believed him remains to be seen. Warner Brothers Discovery's approach to streaming continues to raise eyebrows, said Third Bridge analyst Jamie Lumley in a Thursday research brief, noting that there is a lot of uncertainty around how the company is planning to position itself against competitors like Netflix and whether it will be able to compete. Some investors, the analyst said, are confused by the company's intention to keep Discovery Plus running as a standalone, even as it seeks to increase prices at HBO Max by adding Discovery Plus content. For his part, Zaslav said research showed that a number of customers were happy with the solo Discovery Plus, and the company saw no reason to leave any subscribers behind. This goes back to what I said. He's a Discovery person first. The executive also showed a defiant streak, doubling down on a strategy at CNN that has generated lots of outside scrutiny. They're making a lot of changes. I'm not going to get into the stuff going on at CNN. CNN's been in turmoil for years, far left leaning. They used to be kind of down the middle. They are not down the middle anymore, and he's trying to fix that. So let's talk about this loss and what they're talking about here. They also, well, I'll do that when I switch over here. During that call, they also went on to say that they're not opposed to selling some of the IPs to other streaming services, which means they could license out the Snyder stuff if they wanted to, but I don't think they're going to do that. After this $2 billion loss in quarter four, I do not see Warner Brothers coming out of this. I'm just being honest with you guys. This is not a knock on James Gunn. It's not a knock on Zaslav, but their leadership skills are obviously not putting them in a good position right now. And they continue to bleed money, and I don't see that turning around. I don't see them being profitable with something like, Creature Commandos. I don't see people gravitating towards that. I just don't. It just doesn't make sense. What would have made sense is to do something like Man of Steel 2. But I digress. So let's talk about the situation that they're in. What's really interesting and telling during that call is one of the analysts there who works for Warner Brothers Discovery did mention James Gunn in his slate and said, we've got a lot of good things that we're backing, with James Gunn. We hope they're going to do well, but if they don't, we basically have another plan in place. That right there tells me they don't have a lot of faith in what James Gunn is doing if they've got another plan. This is typical Warner Brothers. Throw mud on a wall to see what sticks. I don't think James Gunn's stuff is going to stick. And I am standing by the statement that this Superman movie is probably Superman Legacy is going to be the most important film that Warner Brothers has ever released. It has to make money. If it does not make money, the whole thing's done. I'm telling you right now. I don't see this as a long-term solution. I think what is going to happen is they're going to ride this out for the 2 years that people have to wait before a takeover can happen. And I think somebody's going to come in and take over the Warner Brothers section of this, and then the DC stuff is going to get changed all over again. So I don't think we're going to have any cohesive thing happening until Gunn is out of there and until the next 2 years have passed. Well, basically another year and a half. We still have about a year and a half before something can definitely happen. But man alive, this is not good news no matter how you look at it. I don't know how bad things can get, but this doesn't seem to be getting better at all. And I'd like to know how people can be optimistic about this when they're losing money. They're not going to have the money. They talked about, pumping money into doing another Lord of the Rings, series of movies. With what money? If they're not going to put the money into bringing Henry Cavill back, how are they going to have the money to do something with the Lord of the Rings? And do they even think it's going to be popular? They're going to continue to push out stuff for Harry Potter. The new Hogwarts Legacy game is doing extremely well, and they're making some money from that. So they're going to milk the Harry Potter thing. They think they have gold, but if they don't execute properly, they're just going to do nothing but screw this up further. I don't see a lot of hope for the future. But that's just me. If anybody else sees anything different, please let me know. But there's my update for the day. As more information gets released, I will be bringing you guys all of the news. I do appreciate the support. We'll see you on the next video.